Hello, people of YouTube. My name is Steve Gray, and thank you for watching. Today, we're going to be talking about My Hero Academia Season 5, Episode 15. And I'm starting to feel that, like, I don't care about this season anymore. And it's starting to get to me a little bit. You know, I was good for quite a while with all the action stuff, all the fighting in the beginning. Now we're getting to a point where it just seems like it's more and more and more build-up based on the preview for next episode. The next episode is probably just going to be some sort of filler. It's going to just show some work study stuff from some of the other students outside of Bakugo, Deku, and Shoto. So, yeah, expect that for the next couple of episodes. Next couple episodes are probably just going to be meh. I'm hoping we finally get into the meat of it. I thought we were getting into the meat of it a little bit in the beginning of this episode because we actually end up starting off with Hawks. So Hawks is in the Liberation Army's headquarters, I guess you could say. We get to see a couple of villains that we haven't seen in a while. You know, Toga twice, Spinner. I think Dabi was there too, if I'm remembering correctly, and a couple that we weren't exactly sure who they were. Somebody in kind of like, you know, like a fancy suit, like he's in charge type situation. Or she, we don't really know who it is. It sounds like a man's voice, but you never know. And, you know, Hawks is showing up, and they seem to be happy with Hawks. He's spreading the Liberation Handbook out to all of youth. He was like, oh, this is going to be really good if we can get the youth and 20-somethings to read this book and be a part of it and join our side, because then a lot more, we're going to have even a bigger army. We kind of got a little bit more of what happened from last episode with Endeavor reading the book 2 weeks ago, because we did get that 2-week gap. And there's going to be over 100,000 people in this army, and that the plan is to use the students pretty much as backup. So if they don't have enough manpower to, you know, destroy everybody, then we are going to need to use all of the students as backup in order to stop them. And that's probably what's going to end up happening, most likely, if they have over 100,000 people on their side. We don't know how many heroes there are, but based on what we've seen, they're not going to have enough, so they're going to have to tap into the students and their abilities, and they're going to have to train them harder than they have trained students in the past, because they need to be able to fight villains of higher classes than they have been before, even though we know they've all had some combat experience. It's kind of weird though, you know. I don't know. It was a nice introduction, and then it just kind of fell flat. We got to see a new power that Hawks had as well. He has the ability to listen to vibrations, and he can understand what people are saying. He leaves a feather in the door, and that's how we figured out, you know, 4 months until whatever. What time frame that means in the anime, who really knows at this point in time? We don't really know what that time frame means in the anime, how long it's going to take for us to actually hit that 4 months, because we've been in 5 seasons, and I think they're only on their second year, so I think everybody's like 16-ish now, roughly. I believe they're in their second year. I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that. But you know, been through 5 seasons, and we've only gotten through like a year of school. So it's definitely a very slow progression, which there's really nothing wrong with it. But if you're gonna put in a bunch of filler episodes, a bunch of stuff people don't care about, it's kind of like meh. You know, the general consensus for this entire season so far has just been a kind of like meh, you know, whatever, we don't really care. I'll come back on season 6 when it actually starts getting better. It seems like that's kind of the consensus a lot of people are talking about. I'm hoping we actually get more stuff with the Liberation Army, with Hawks in there as well, and then hopefully, you know, we get to see some more training with Deku, Bakugo, and Shoto, the 3 kind of main characters at this point in time. But who knows? We learned that Shoto has actually not warmed up to Endeavor really at all. The only reason he is with Endeavor is because his friends taught him that it is his ability as well, and that it's his responsibility ultimately to learn how to use it properly. So he is just using Endeavor as a tool. You know, he's not warming up to him as a father or anything along those lines. He's just using Endeavor as a tool in order to get what he wants, which Endeavor is kind of okay with, because it ends up that, you know, Shoto is falling into that path anyway. But when Endeavor, you know, he realizes that he needs to train all 3 of them and not just Shoto. One of the, I think they're called sidekicks. Yeah, sidekicks. They're Burden, the girl with the crazy flame hair. She actually said, oh, by the way, you know, Deku and Bakugo, you're probably just going to sit back and hang with us the entire time, since Endeavor only ever cares about training Shoto. But then he realized that, you know, what Hawks was talking about, that they need to train the new generation. Bakugo has very similar abilities to Endeavor and Shoto, where Deku has super strength to a certain extent, and his air bullets. Basically, they're comparing Flash Fire to Bakugo's explosions to Deku's air bullets. So they're all kind of similar in the same section, and the idea is just to get everybody faster. Endeavor said that the one goal here is you need to get to somebody before I do, because all three of them are falling behind Endeavor. Obviously, Endeavor's number one. He was number two. Now he's number one. So it's going to be really hard for anybody to really catch up with him besides Hawks, because Hawks, I think, is faster than Endeavor in most cases. But he can respond to things extremely quickly. He can. We know how physically strong he is with the Nomu. He can stop a moving vehicle. He stopped a moving vehicle from injuring a woman as well. But Deku kind of starts rambling on. He was like, all right, what is everybody's weakness, and what do we need to do? Because he just wants to help them figure out what all their weaknesses are. Bakugo, being cocky, is like, oh, I just want to figure out what I can't do. I already know what I can do. And Endeavor even says, he was like, yeah, you're quick, you're fast, you're good for a rookie, but at the same time, you need more experience. You need more combat experience, you need more saving people's lives experience, and that'll help build you. Deku needs to learn, obviously, to control more of his abilities. Even Endeavor says, give up with Black Whip right now. We're not going to focus on that. He was like, because you have a lot more things that you need to learn besides that right now. It's like you haven't even mastered any of your abilities yet, so stop trying to, kind of pile on and add to it. Focus on one thing at a time. So Deku is going to focus on using his air bullets to 100%. Where he can use them at a moment's notice without even hesitation, without even having to think about it. That was part of it too. He wants them to be able to use their abilities without even thinking about it. Shoto needs to learn kind of from Bakugo and Endeavor how to control his flames and kind of do a controlled explosion to a certain extent as Bakugo can, and that will accelerate him faster as opposed to just using his ice. He can already shape his ice to a certain extent, so Endeavor mentions, just try doing that with the flames as well, shaping them to your will, shaping them so that way it'll allow you to accelerate faster. And that's the goal. Right now it's speed. He was like, the three main things is, recovery, rescue, and fighting, I believe, with the three that he was talking about. Recovery, obviously, being, after everything is demolished, helping people out. Reaction, obviously, showing up as fast as you can. And then fighting as well. Obviously, you got to be able to fight and defeat the villains. And none of them really, I would say, with the current level of villains that are running around, minus if they run into the League of Villains or any of them, strength-wise, they're pretty good with their average Joes. It's not like Endeavor. We can see how powerful he is. I feel like some of the stuff that he's doing, he probably thinks it's beneath him. Just saving a woman from a car that's about to hit her. A hit and run, things along those lines. You can't tell, but I feel like he's kind of got that snobby attitude where some of that stuff is beneath him, and he should only be doing what actually, what matters in his mind, which is, finding the Liberation Front, defeating all of them. Hawks even said, we can just surround the building right now and take them all out, but at the same time, he's like, no, we can't do that because we need to figure out where every single base is. And you just see this map of Japan and all these lights coming up all over the place. So they have bases all over the place. So, this is going to be an all-out war in the near future, and it's going to be bad. Because I think the heroes are going to be hurting a lot, the civilians are going to be hurting a lot, and there's probably going to be a point in time where it's like you can't even protect the civilians anymore because there's so many friggin' villains just destroying everything. What I think would be interesting is, like, if that scenario does happen, will other countries, or are they going to do it that way, depending on how the world works, are they going to have other countries intervene and send their heroes to help them? I could see that definitely happening. At some point in time, if, all the crazy evil is coming out of Japan, they're like, oh, get over it. I've seen that happen before in several anime where it's like, oh, the U.S. comes to help them out, things along those lines, but we'll just have to wait and see. Next episode, as I already said, gonna be a filler, so it's gonna be another This episode, we're giving it a 6 out of 10 because it was just kind of meh. There was some cool build-up in the beginning, but then it's like, oh, great, nothing's gonna happen this episode. That's really significant. Just rambling on, preparing for the inevitable war that's happening. Endeavor realizing that, yes, he needs to train some people so that way they can be prepared for the inevitable war. Next episode is going to be Uraka and Asui. A couple of people teaming up. I don't know if Deku's going to be in there at all whatsoever. It doesn't look like it based on the preview, but who knows? But yeah, it's just going to be like them doing some random side quest thing that's not important to the main storyline at all. So you can get mad about that too. Anyway, I think that's where we're going to leave it. As I said, okay episode. This is definitely not one that goes on the rewatch list ever. Nothing that I would even waste my time with rewatching, I'll be honest with you. So we'll just leave it as that. My name is Steve Gray. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, leave a like, and as always, comment down below what you'd like to see for future anime and cartoon related videos. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a good one.